Hello, everyone. John Maddox here with the 800-pound deadlift update. Yeah, I know it's been a couple weeks. I do apologize. Normally I do have my week off. This is actually my week off. I am running behind. I do have a platform, and I haven't mentioned it in a number of weeks here, called communityreviews.org. And I do a separate podcast on communityreviews.org. And I also do a podcast with a internet blogger named Martin Brodell. So we've been doing our podcast together. We just finished episode 61 on Saturday. So Saturday, it's under About Us on communityreviews.org. It says partnership with Martin Brodell. So if you want to see that video has to do with the storm that's getting ready to happen here. And then the video that I just did on Sunday for my individual podcast on communityreviews.org has to do with what to expect when this storm is over. So people really want to know what's going on in the world. We have been in martial law since 2017, a worldwide martial law by a 35 military alliance. And that's why we've been seeing a lot of stuff get disclosed publicly that we would have never seen before, like the two-tiered justice system. So I just want to remind people, if you want to really know what's going on in the world and what's getting ready to happen, go to communityreviews.org and watch those two podcasts. So the one from Saturday with Martin Brodell, which is under About Us, partnership with Martin Brodell, goes through what the storm's going to be, because it's going to be the scariest part of this military movie coming up here. Challenging of the elections, riots, all types of stuff, mass arrests, unsealing of indictments, all types of fun stuff. All right. And then the other podcast is talking about kind of where we've been and where we're going. So now that the movie's getting ready to end. So, but anyways, this is the only way that the military could have got this information out, because people don't believe stuff, right? Like they don't believe John Maddox can deadlift 800 pounds until they see a video of him doing 800 pounds. So, which I'm getting close on, by the way. So, anyways, I want to give my plug to communityreviews.org. It's an awesome platform. I've been doing independent journalist update in there for more than 2.5 years on many different community interest topics. So, if you want to learn about COVID, you want to learn about the human trafficking and sexual misconduct of these elites, I got a whole section on election fraud, some other just general community interest. You can, like I said, watch the podcast, see the joint podcast with Martin Brodell. We have stuff on there about the Tartarians, if you guys want to learn where our true history comes from. But anyways, the Matrix is lifting. So, all right. So now for John Maddox and his 800-pound deadlift update. Obviously, I haven't talked in a couple of weeks because I had to put out this content. Obviously, we were watching the elections, just like a lot of us. We had to see what was getting ready to happen. So, no, but I've trained every week. This is currently my week off. I come back the following week. So over the last 2 weeks, my second weekend is usually my light squat week. I don't do any deadlift work. And for some reason, I even feel that strong on the bench that Friday. So it's funny. Sometimes Friday comes around, like I know the first week back of the 3 weeks that I've been training, I actually, really hit the assistance deadlift workout very hard. Did shrugs with 675 for 10 reps. And by the time Friday came around, I had nothing left. Shoulders were tired. Um, and this following week, and sometimes when I hit things so hard, the next week my body's still beat up. And so it's not until this past week is when I'm starting to feel better. So, I haven't handled 800 pounds for anything. I mean, I even backed off on doing heavy shrugs up to 800 pounds because after my hip popped out again in June, just to remind people that did happen, didn't realize it until after I did the meet in July. That last negative I tried to do with 800 pounds hurt so bad. The hip did, that should have been a sign for me. But then I learned that I just can't do conventional deadlift movements right now until this hip heals. So for some reason, every time I go to do a conventional deadlift movement, puts pressure on the hip, forces the hip out. So since I've been moving away from that and been concentrating on just doing like standing good mornings, right, with a wide stance, where I, and still try to concentrate on the lower back work. My lower back is getting stronger and I am feeling a lot more confident in my deadlift. So, the previous 4 weeks that I finished up, I went up to 770, which I did lock out, right, from about 4.5 inches, right, the weight 4.5 inches above the floor. So not at the floor, but, above the floor, 4.5 inches. So it's just a way of working partials, right? So we do it with platforms. Sometimes people use racks. Sometimes people like to use chains. Sometimes people like to use bands. There's all different ways to do partials. all right, where you can get a chance to handle more weight than just doing it for a full range movement, which helps your body to get used to it so that you can get stronger faster. That's the whole concept behind it, as long as you're not, overtraining. So what I did is I went and really hit the squat hard on Tuesday. And normally in the third week, I try to give it up a little bit so I save it for my deadlifts. But I know what it was. So when I had 6 plates on each side of the bar, Thunder started to come on from AC/DC. It's my late training partner, Craig Terry, was one of his deadlift songs. And that kind of got me riled up to just hit that as fast as I could hit it. And then I still went up and I attempted to squat 680. and then by the time I went to deadlift, I realized, holy shit, I've already got rid of all the energy that I had when I came in here. My legs were tired. So I did go up to 4.5 inches and I did attempt 800 pounds. I mean, I did move it a little bit. I didn't really quite have the best leverage because my legs were tired. I was leaning a little bit too forward. So what I did, what's nice about being on top of those 2 wood platforms with adjust your height for these metal platforms is that you just pull one out, right? They're 2.5 inches thick, roughly. So when I pulled that out, then that was, I'm handling it 7 inches off the floor, the weight, right? Instead of 4.5 inches. And you get to do it without having to pull the pins out, move the actual weight itself. You just move those wood platforms. So I moved those wood platforms out and I locked out 800 pounds. So I've done it obviously from that position before. I was doing that, before I actually entered the meet in July 20th, then I kind of took a break. So, but the fact I could come in, blow it up, my legs are stronger than they were back then. So I was able to get the leg drive, because I was in a better leg position from that position. Lockout, not quite as great as I would have liked it to be, but I still, locked it out nice. It just came right up, locked out. So I said, let's try 820 from this position, which is more weight I've ever tried from this position. And again, my legs are strong. I blew it off the platforms, but as soon as it got just about to the top of my knee, I was stuck. So, but I still moved it from, it's a little above mid shin all the way to the top of above my knee with 820 pounds. And I haven't even handled 800 pounds, in a couple months now. So it was a good feeling. So I see that the lower back's coming back, the legs are strong, my concentration on leg drive is paying off. So I believe it's just around the corner. And so this past Friday, since I didn't do any assistance the week before, my bench actually felt very strong. So instead of me trying to go up to 315, I went up to 295, blew it up like it was nothing. I mean, I could do reps with it. And then I went up to 345 for the board, 2 board. It's the one I always use. And I threw that up like it was nothing. So I go, let's go. I mean, I felt like maybe I could get to 385 today. So I took it down to my chest, paused it for a minute, and I started to go up, just stalled on me. So, but it was good work. And then I went, bent rows. I went up to 5 plates for the bent rows. And then that was it. I didn't do any assistance. I mean, the previous week I did go and do all my upper body assistance type work. I didn't miss any lower body assistant work. I mean, I was doing hip thrust for a while on my week in between. And it's just so difficult and time consuming to set it up because because of the thickness in my hips and everything. I mean, I'm a taller person. So, and plus with all the body weight I've gained, I'm 200. I mean, this past Tuesday, right? Not today, which is Tuesday, but just the week before, I weighed in because I don't weigh in every week now or every day like I used to, but I do weigh in some days. And so I weighed in before I got ready to jump into the shower to go train on Tuesday. And on my scale at home, I weigh 280 pounds. So that's after eating breakfast. That's actually loading with two waters. I usually drink a water with whatever my pre-workout is, and then I have another water. I want to make sure I'm hydrated so I don't pull any muscles or have any issues with stuff like that. So I usually drink 2 bottles of water before I train. But still, I've never weighed 280 on that scale ever. And I've had that scale going back to the 90s. So the fact that it came in at 280, the most I've ever weighed at home, it was awesome. And I actually saw my doctor last week too on Thursday, and he checked everything. All my vitals are perfect. So I did ask for an updated, what they refer to it as testosterone test to see what my testosterone is. And if you heard my intro video that I did when I started this channel, I talk about that a little bit because I don't know if these tests are really reliable. How can I be the biggest I've ever been, lift the most I'm ever lifted in my life, and then have low testosterone? Doesn't make any sense. So, and I've had 3 tests done now. 2 of them were just lower in the average range, and I had one where I ate first and it was below the average range. And so this updated one, which I don't have yet, I'll probably have it. I'll talk about it, when I actually get the results. We'll see where it's at, but I bet you it's in the low end of the normal. And it's like, do these tests really work? And that's my question. Are they really telling you anything that you can rely on? How can I be lifting what I'm lifting if my testosterone's low? Does it make sense? Is it a scam to sell you legalized steroids? I like I said, I'm not a scientist. I'm just going based on what I'm able to do, John Maddox, right? So I don't use any drugs. I hate needles. So I'm not doing anything, just eating and training and making sure I get obviously the physical therapy that I need from Matt Swing, my chiropractor, and Dennis Novelli, who's been helping with my sacrum and my hip. So, but now that I'm not doing conventional movements, the hip feels really good. I'm very excited to deadlift now. I can't wait, for the next 3 weeks to end because I'm not going to go crazy on the legs. I want to get the 800 from the 4.5-inch position, which I believe I will easily do next time now that I've had a chance to feel it because I haven't felt it in a while. And then maybe I'll do a negative and then try to bounce it off the floor and get it back up. But once you can pull for 4.5 inches, dude, you're almost on the floor. So, but anyways, like I said, the training has been great. I'm getting excited. Now that the hips feel better, I don't feel like I'm being held back. I see this thing coming pretty soon. So if it isn't going to be at the end of this next 4 weeks, it will be by the following 4 weeks after that. So, but it's coming. John Maddox signing out here. We will do 800 pounds in the near future. Everyone have yourself a great couple weeks. Talk to you soon.